All right, so I got an oddball one here, which I've been dealing with for over a decade. Man, probably 13 years, right? Male pattern baldness. All right. I am bald as F. I still got some peach fuzz. I mean, I couldn't even grow that out. There was a point where I probably could have grew it out and trimmed it and it would have looked shallow, but it's donesy, bro. Should I keep my hat off for this? I like wearing hats. I liked wearing hats when I had hair. I like gelling my hair up, the typical stuff. But I'll tell you my backstory. And I know as men get older, they struggle with it much more. Like if you go bald in your 30s as opposed to your 20s or your 40s, you're used to having your hair longer. So it probably can depress you more. Your acceptance of it might be down, especially if you have an odd shaped head. I have a perfectly shaped head, and I shave it. Usually it's grown out a bit now, but I'll shave it. Looks good. Back here I have a bit of a divot, but if you have divots up top or in the front, it's going to be rough. I can't really speak on that. I got lucky, and I won't grow Bozo the Clown out like some people do, Like I know dudes that will have a hat on and they look like they have hair and they take it off and it looks wild, I've accepted it and I shave it. It's just that simple. Go look at Joe Rogan. He talks about it. It's sort of freeing. It really is. And I've heard every bald joke, under the sun. Uncle Fester, look like a thumb. I could go on and on for a million years about this stuff. Especially when I was fat. I heard every fat joke too. This doesn't faze me. I've heard it all. And people will say the same stuff I heard from like years ago. It's like, oh man, yeah. Haven't heard that before. You're original. And people think they're funny. The Uncle Fester one, it's like 1,000 times. And people think they're original with it. Like, I bet this guy hasn't heard that before. Tommy Pickles. Yeah, there's Tommy Pickles. Look at her back there, smile. You eat your McDonald's. But, yeah, it happened to me when I was in my young 20s. I was like 21, and I forget why. I was making a video back then. I had a separate YouTube channel, and someone was filming me from behind. And I used to gel my hair up, had a head of hair, all that. And someone was filming me from behind, and they're like, oh my God, you have a big bald spot back there. And I remember I was like 21 to 22. And I was like, oh man, it wasn't big. Like I got away with it till I was like 24, 25. Then it just like came up here and back here, receded back. And it's game over now, man. It's been like this for years. But, yeah, I was like, oh my gosh. And accepting it was quite hard at first. It sucked. But it was a pretty smooth transition because I just accepted shaving it. And I don't know. I really didn't have that hard of a time with it. It just, maybe for a few months, it was like, man, this sucks. Would I rather have hair? Sure. Would I want long hair? No way. I don't know how dudes do long hair. Like, there's no way I would ever want long hair in general. I always gelled it up in the front, the typical teenage stuff. And then when it went away, it's just I've been buzzing it and shaving it for years. That's all it is. It's cheap. It's efficient. It works for me. I'm accepting of it. There's nothing else I can do. I never really messed with any hair loss products, grow the hair back or whatever. Rogaine and all that stuff. I don't really know. The transplanting, I don't feel like any of it's legit. Maybe if you start early enough and somehow preserve the hair. Maybe if you have a whole head of hair and you think you're starting to thin out, maybe use the products. But once it's gone, I feel like it's gone. Now, like Bosley and all that stuff. Does that stuff work? Maybe. I'm not paying for it. I don't care anymore. I don't mind being bald at this point. Just does not faze me. But I have friends in their 30s that are balding and like they're really trying to hold on, man. Like they're letting the Bozo the Clown go, or their hair's receding way back and they're holding on. It's like the dude that combs over one string of hair over their head just to feel like they have hair, It's like, let it go. Sorry, let it go. You look way worse trying to hold on to your hair than you do just shaving it. Now, if you have an odd shaped head, that's a whole different ball game. I can't speak on that, okay? But let it go, I'm telling you. Maybe an expensive toupee would work, but a lot of the times that does not look natural. People can spot it instantly. I'm never going to go that route. It's shave for life for me. But yeah, those are the cards you were dealt. Just like people with like, you know, bad genetics. You know, people have leukemia at young ages. They have brain cancer at young ages. People have heart issues. You know, you're bald. It's not the worst thing in the world. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even care anymore, but I do see men going through like depression and stuff from it. And it's like, man, like that stuff's a decade old to me, dude. Like, it don't faze me. But, yeah, and they say like wearing a hat balds you out because, you know, pulling the hair strains every time you take your hat on and off. But I know people with full heads of hair that wear hats all the time. So that myth, I don't know if that myth has any factual basis. Also, they say it's your mother's father. Well, my grandfather is 87 years old and he has a whole head of hair. My father has a whole head of hair. I mean, it's, you know, his hairline's receding back slightly, but he has a whole head of hair and he's 62. So this is all bullcrap. Now, my great-grandfather was bald on my father's side. It's almost like it skipped 2 generations to me, and that can happen. You know, I hit that genetic, you know, lottery I hit. And those are the cards I'm dealt, and honestly, it doesn't faze me, man. But, yeah, the whole your mother's father thing, that lay it to rest, dude. Because I see my grandfather once every 2 weeks, at least, and his hair, he has a whole head of hair. It's white. It's weird. Usually when people have a whole head of hair, it whitens really quick. I've kept all my pigment in all my hair. It's really weird. Like, bald people keep their pigment, but people with a lot of hair lose their pigment. It's almost like your body saviors the pigment from up here and spreads it out. That probably makes no sense at all. But it's funny. Like, I have no whitening in any of my facial hair or my side hair on my head. But then all my friends with a lot of hair, they're whitening out like crazy. So, but I'd rather have a full head of hair that's whitened than be bald, of course, you know what I mean? Like, that is what it is. You could always dye it. But, yeah, learn to accept it. It's the cards you were dealt. There's nothing you can do about it. You know, what are you going to do? Just complain and you got to get over it at some point. Buzz it, shave it, move on, baby. It'll save you money from the barber. I haven't been to someone has not touched my hair in over 13 years, man. So that is what it is. Not much else to say on it. That's my dealing with it. It happened young. Started buzzing it. Started shaving it the past like 8 years. I would just buzz it on a low key or a low attachment for a long time. And now I just got used to shaving it. Should probably shave it every 2 or 3 days. But what I do now is I'll go like 2 to 3 weeks. I'll buzz it down low and then I'll shave it. So I don't have to do it multiple times a week. But you're probably better off shaving it every 2 or 3 days and being done with it. But then again, that's a lot of work. I get lazy. Like I said, buzz, shave, zoop, done. And you get efficient at it. Like if I'll check my head and I can shave it and shower. And if there's any like strains I missed, I go back over it, and you get very efficient at it, you know, with practice. If you're newer to it, it's probably going to be a little annoying, but it's nothing now. That's really it, man. There's not much else to say. Cards you were dealt, just like, you know, money. If you don't have much money, what are you going to do? Just play the victim card your whole life and not grind? Gotta get out there and grind, baby. You know, it builds your character. More resilient you get to life's obstacles, you know? Yeah, that's about it.